Hey guys, welcome back to another F1 2020 video. Today we're going to be taking the Williams around Bahrain for a spin. This is the first time I've driven the Williams, and I gotta say I do like the livery on it. So heading down onto the pit straight now, there isn't a whole lot different as we can tell straight away, but the curbing is a lot easier to take than it was on F1 2019. You can straddle the curbs a lot through the first sector as well. More than you could so than F1 2019 without unsettling the car. My first impression of the Williams is that it's a lot more stable than it was in F1 2019. It's a lot easier to drive. I'm not sure if it's more based around a midfield car rather than where the performance of the Williams was last year, because obviously we don't know exactly the performance index of every car this year because we haven't had any races yet. So I think Codemasters have had to do their best with just having a guess as to where each car is in terms of performance on the grid in comparison to each other. So it's a bit of an estimate, but yeah, it's definitely a lot easier to drive than it was on F1 2019, that's for sure. So welcomed improvement for the Williams car indeed. That curb on the right hand side, if you touch it, it will instantly spin you out still, so be wary of that. The high speed corners where they have curbs on the inside, if the unloaded tire touches that curb like in the Netherlands or Bahrain, it will unsettle the car and cause a spin unless you set up the car in such a way that it can handle that kind of aggression on the curbs. So if you adjusted the front roll bar forward to like a higher setting, that'd be one way to counteract the oversteer that you would get from copying that curve. So there is ways to deal with it. Running a high ride height would also help, softer suspension, that kind of thing. So yeah, there is ways to go around it to make the car more stable over the curbs as well. In general, it is a lot better to run higher, I feel a higher ride height in this game compared to F1 2019, especially around this track. Ran a little bit wide there, but we're going to ignore that. The Williams isn't the best performing car, so it's not exactly driving the Mercedes walk in the park around at this track in particular. But we do manage to set the fastest lap time around the circuit. I know Ben actually beat my time earlier, so I had to go back and make a better setup and beat his lap time. So yeah, I'm using basically the same setup I used for the Mercedes around this track for this Williams as well. And yeah, it's not that bad. Like, the stability is okay. So yeah, I don't have many complaints about that. The cornering into that downhill left-hander is also maybe a little bit easier. You can't spam down the gears though, so I've always been more smooth with gear transitions than a lot of other people that spam down to gain an advantage in braking zones, like the esports driver. They like to spam down the gears and then upshift really quickly to get better traction out of the corner, like short shifting to get out of it, and they get extra rotation by shifting into a gear like first gear to get the rotation in, and then yeah, quickly short shift out of it. But in this game you can't do that anymore. Around third, fourth gear it slows you down. So I might have mentioned it in a few other videos, but yeah, it's just one of the prominent things in this game to be noticed. Also, a new detail with the F1 2020 game is the force feedback feels a lot more detailed on the controller. I'm not sure what it feels like on the wheel, but with the controller so far, it feels a whole lot more, you got more information, I feel, as to how close you are to the limit. So therefore you can kind of push harder if you're a new gamer and you're playing F1 for the first time. This sector in particular, actually, the curbs are a lot more docile, so you can attack them a whole bunch more and use them on exit for grip, because they don't punish you as much as they did in F1 2019. But the force feedback feels a whole lot better on the controller. You know exactly what's going on underneath the car, like in comparison to previous iterations of the game at least. So yeah, that's a welcomed improvement from Codemasters, and hopefully they continue to develop on the force feedback on both devices, on the controller and the wheel. Once again, this is only an early build of the game, so a lot of things can change. They'll be making improvements and some changes, obviously, so this won't be the final product that you see when you buy the game. There should be some improvements yet to come, and there's a lot of things that are yet to be announced. So stay tuned into Codemasters and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you want to find out any more news and stay up to date with F1 2020. I've been finding in general with this game, running higher downforce at some circuits seems to be the way to go at the moment. Like Zanvor, I've been running high downforce there, and it's been easier to set quicker lap times so far. Obviously you got tracks like Bahrain that require less downforce, but in comparison to 2019, I think running slightly higher downforce might be the way to go. And maybe having a mess around with the camber angles, going aggressive there, running slightly less rear wing than front wing, and then counteracting that with a stiffer front roll bar, so that way it takes away from the oversteer. That way you still get a responsive car with grip through corners, and hopefully it creates a balanced sort of setup. That's the way I've been currently going around it with the setup so far. But I'm sure that's going to evolve when more people get their hands on the game, and there's obviously just more hours spent on the game, and people will find out what is the best way to go around each track with the evolution of the setups. Once again, the engine improvements with the audio have been significant. Like the audio, I've been really enjoying a lot more than previous iterations of the game. The Mercedes is probably actually my least favorite out of the, I think, 4 engine suppliers so far. I think the Ferrari and the Renault supplied engines are the best sounding in comparison to the Honda and the Mercedes. I just enjoyed the downshifts, the sounds of the downshifts with the Renault, and the entirety of the Ferrari engine just sounds really, I guess, loud in a way. It just sounds more high pitched. I don't know how else to really describe it, but yeah, I think Ferrari and the Renault are my favorites at the moment. Unless they change it, who knows, but at the moment those are my 2 favorites. I'm looking forward to see what else Codemasters announce in the future. Once again, if you have any questions that you want me to answer in the next few videos, be sure to leave them in the comment section, and also let me know what you want to see in the future, and I'll do my best to cover all that content to the best of my ability. Anyways, if you want to stay tuned for more content, and also keep up to date with all the latest news from Codemasters F1 2020, be sure to subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a whole bunch, so it's much appreciated. And as usual, I'll close off this video by just showing some gameplay with unedited audio, and make sure it's nice and clear for those viewers that just want to listen to the audio by itself, so that they can get a good understanding of what the game sounds like and feels like on its own. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a brand new one. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe on the video if you want to help the channel out, and I'll see you all in a brand new one.